Right, okay, well, I might as well get straight into it. Now, I didn't watch this. I was doing other bits and bobs, but you watched the England v France International, and if you could sum it up in one word, what would it be?
It was a shocker.
Yeah.
I tell you what, right, you hit the nail on the head straight away. You said, I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
Why didn't you watch it?
Well, it was just so freaking hard to watch.
There's point number one.
Yeah, it was just so hard to watch. I mean, I couldn't find it anywhere. I assumed it was going to be on BBC iPlayer. It wasn't, or I certainly couldn't find it. I tried downloading Super League Plus. I've not had it, and I couldn't get that to freaking work. It just kept timing out on the page. So I don't know whether it was my internet connection or the app or whatever. It was just disastrous to the point where I was like, sod it. I'm going to go and watch the local team, Telford Raiders, take on freaking Birmingham Bulldogs. And I'm glad I did, because I didn't stand a chance of watching it.
No, well, so you were right. The app was terrible. It just wouldn't work. Like, we always try and be really positive, don't we, on this show? We don't like slagging the sport off. It's not what we do. It's not what we do. But that was dreadful at the weekend, and it was pretty much everything about it. Like, the app it took me about 40, 50 minutes to get it working. It was like they didn't want it to be seen, and that's terrible for an international game. So yeah, the app took absolutely ages to get going. Eventually, I managed to get it working, and I wasn't alone. There was absolutely loads of people online all trying to get the app to work, and just like you, gave up. It just didn't work. And then we'll talk about the game. The crowd was dreadful. There was
non-existent.
There was 4,500 there. The last time England played France in France, I believe there was 12,500 there. So the drop is huge, and I don't know where we go. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if it's a lack of marketing from the French side. I've been thinking all week about it. Where do we go from here? Because I've been so excited for the England-Samoa internationals that's going to be taking place next year. And everything about it felt like it was just
second rate,
an afterthought warm-up game to what we're going to be watching later on in the season, really.
Yeah, it's a shame, because straight away I thought, right, what the fuck of IMG? What's their take on this, right? And I went back to look at the recommendations from IMG way back in, I think it was April last year, and the second one was like, we need to make space in October and
middle of the year for an international, right? So that was one of their recommendations. So what the hell? I mean, they might have made space in the Super League calendar, but I think actually that disgruntled a few Super League clubs, and they weren't with it, were they? They weren't going with it. Well, so the stall was set out earlier on in the year, wasn't it? When they said England are going to be playing France, it's going to be played before Toulouse v Featherstone. Straight away, and that set the precedence, I think. And for all the fans who were like, well, if the body doesn't care about, international body doesn't care about this fixture, they're putting it on as a curtain raiser for a Featherstone game, then the fans aren't going to care about it, and that, I believe that's what happened.
So I mean, am I right in thinking there was a bit of a story where like France couldn't afford to come to England, therefore England travelled across to there? Was that the case?
Well, no, I don't think so. I think this was an anniversary game for the French Rugby League. It was like 90 years of the French Rugby League or something along those lines, the French Federation. So it was supposed to be like a celebration game, but I don't know if it wasn't promoted in France. I know it was played in Toulouse, which is it's an up and coming. Well, that's not an up and coming, because Rugby League's been there for years. I don't know, mate. I don't know. It was terrible to not see it be televised. Because in my opinion, every England match should always be televised. Even in this country, there wasn't much promo for it, was there?
No,
there was no build up for it. It was.
Do you know? It's shocking. I mean, shocking for the fans. It really is shocking for the fans. But there was 4 debutants that game.
Yeah, it was the players I felt for.
Yeah, the players. But also, I mean, this is Sean Wayne's main job. You know what I mean? This is what he works towards all the time, and to not get any kind of recognition. But also, Like I haven't seen any positive comments online about this. Everybody has just sort of smashed it hard and slagged it off, and I've got a real ill feeling about it. And it's a little bit devastating.
Like I say, I've tried to look for the positives, and there ain't many to find. England played as well. The first 20 minutes, they played like they were playing in front of an empty stadium, for a fixture that just didn't really matter, and that's what it felt like. You're just watching it and thinking, well, the fans aren't bothered to turn up. The team don't seem that interested about it. They did pick it up. The first 20 minutes were dreadful. They didn't respect the ball. They didn't respect France. France were more up for it than they were. They did get into it, and they blew them away in the end. It was 40 points to 10 or something. But I go back to France as well. I expect more from that French team. That was a team of Super League players, pretty much. Yeah,
but it was predominantly Catalan Dragons, wasn't it? You looked at the team. There was predominantly Catalan Dragons. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you got like.
Do you think if they'd have had a stronger opposition, the game would have been promoted a bit more?
Yeah, but you said that it's predominantly Catalan Dragons. Like Catalan Dragons are a poor team. They're not a poor team, are they?
No, but they're not like there's a Super League side. Middle of the table Super League side at the moment. They're not an international side.
True.
That's a tough one. What do you think's been said at the top of the game, like the very top echelons of RFL? Do you think they give a shit or what?
I hope they do, and I hope it's been dissected, and I hope there's some people are under a lot of pressure to really improve the international game. I think it goes deeper than that, though, doesn't it? Because I think we as fans. I mean, what did you think when we announced we were playing France?
I thought it was. Well, I mean, we've seen it before, haven't we?
Yeah.
When you kind of know
they haven't beaten us for 40 years.
Yeah, we can probably guess. I mean, this 40 points, they might get a try, a couple of tries. We can kind of guess that. We can assume that. And you've got to look at all these games as like with the long-term vision of it. You know what I mean? Like, we've got to have these internationals because in the future it's going to be stronger. I read something online about very similar to Italy in the Six Nations or whatever.
Aaron Bauer's article in The Guardian, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he was sort of saying, Italy used to get smashed every time, every tournament, every game, just get smashed. Now they're starting to compete and they beat Scotland the other day. So, it
takes a long time, doesn't it?
We've got to have this long-term view of it. But I still like to see my country run out in those colours.
Yeah.
And I like to see the formation. Like, okay, Sean Wayne's going to pick this England side, and who's going to be in that side? Because it's basically telling you who the 4 running English players in the game right now. And I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
And I want to see overseas players, the likes, Dom Young, whoever qualifies to come and play in that team and see them have a run out. You know what I mean? And so I think I am excited about it. I do want to see it.
There's probably more to it than just dissecting that game, England v France, on that day, and we don't have. We don't have any meaningful internationals left now, do we? We don't have, France and Ireland and Scotland. We know that we may not see them play again for years to come, and that's sad. And you've got a lot of this was another article I read this week. There's a lot of players in the England setup at the minute who would qualify for Ireland and qualify for Scotland, but they don't have a squad to play for. Therefore, they're all playing for England. But then
that dilutes.
But then it dilutes, And then 4 nations would be great, wouldn't it? Or 5 nations, and even if England had to play an England Knights team in that just to build it up, I'd love to see, and I think that would get more traction than what we watched at the weekend did.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, 2 things. You can guess that Sean Wayne is absolutely kicking locker doors in and bloody throwing his weight around right now. I can't imagine he's going to settle for that. But also, the other thing is that when you think like 4,500 people, and then you look at State of Origin, 90,000 people in a stadium. It's night and day, and the Aussies must be freaking laughing at us.
Well,
laughing at us.
Funnily enough, if you lived in Australia, you could actually watch it on TV.
Why? How? What
I don't know, mate.
I feel like someone's just reached inside my anus and pulled out my fucking kidney there. That's shocking.
You could watch it in Australia, but we couldn't watch it over here. We had to find it on an app.
How many obstacles do you want to put in front of your fans? Do you know what I mean? Oh, come on. Right, okay, let's move on.
We've got to get past that because it was depressing enough. And what was it? Last point. What was even worse? Is that all the rugby union press picked up on it.
Oh,
and
God.
just run articles about it on all the websites. Just basically,
of course you would.
Of course you would. Basically, just laughing about it. It was.
It was a shame.
Yeah.
Okay, this clip was taken from this week's Set of Six show. You can watch the entire show by clicking on the link down below.